name is Paul Stevens. I'm the Product Design and Development Manager for Trace Acoustic and Trace Elliot. We've got three new products here of part of the Trace Acoustic range. One in the middle is the TA200. This allows you, first of all, to apply different amounts of reverb on channel 1 and channel 2. So you may want more reverb on the vocals and less on the instrument channel, or vice versa. You can also then switch on the effects, which I've done with the push button on the front or with the foot controller. And this now we're adding one of many different kinds of effects. So you can hear that's chorus. Flange. Phase. Tremolo. You can adjust all the rates and levels of these. Very easy to use. Then there's a series of delays. That's like an analog delay. And then more of a digital sounding delay. I'm rather close to the amplifier here. I can set the actual delay time by pressing the button here. As you heard, it's very short, very long. That can also be controlled by the foot controller. Off and go back to normal. The next part of the front panel is the graphic EQ. This is a 6-band EQ. The slider frequencies have actually been selected to work well with acoustic guitar. So there's actually more in the lower region, and then above 1K you've got really just a couple of sliders for the very high frequencies, because these are the frequencies you're more interested in really. And then above each slide there's an LED, which you can notice comes on as I play. Now that's basically showing you what frequency you're playing at, but where that's helpful is if there is feedback occurring at a particular frequency, then the relevant LED will light up, and then you know which slider to control, to pull down to adjust the feedback. So in all, there's 3 methods of controlling feedback. There's the notch filter, the phase switch, and then what's known as the FLS system, feedback locating system on the sliders. Lastly, we have the master volume. Obviously just sets your stage volume. Simple, and an extremely important and useful feature is the mute switch. Now as I hit that, you'll notice that the LED is flashing. It's flashing on the foot switch as well, and I can switch it off on the foot switch, and it's basically muting the guitar sound. That will mute all of the outputs, the speaker output and the DI outputs as well, so it's easy to change guitar. I can unplug this without producing any noise. Easy. Otherwise you'd send a big bolt through the PA system like that. And it mutes all the outputs, so you can tune up, or as I say, just do the guitar, do anything you like, or just leave it on the stand. You know it's not going to start feeding back or anything. And so that, as I mentioned, all of the preamp features on these 3 are the same. So it's, once you know how to drive one of them, the rest is easy. They've just got slightly different powers and speaker complements. These are actually 5-inch speakers. It was the Trace Acoustic concept right in the early days to use smaller speakers and make something that as a product overall was fairly compact, because acoustic musicians don't really want to carry an amplifier around. It's kind of surplus to what they want to be using. They're interested in this part of it. Electric guitarists, they're interested in the amplifier because it actually changes the sound, whereas this isn't actually meant to change the sound, it's meant to just reproduce it. So in a way, it's something they didn't really want to have to deal with, so the smaller and lighter the better. So by using the 5-inch speakers, we're able to get a good high fidelity sound without the use of horns as well. It's one thing that we've always been particular about, is not using high frequency horns, because they can sound harsh on acoustic guitar. So we use a technique called dynamic correction, which actually uses, without getting too complicated, it uses well, I'm going to get complicated now, the impedance curve of the speaker is fed back into the apparent amplifier, and it naturally increases the high frequencies which you hear. That's why these amps sound so nice and bright without having the high frequency horn in there. And these are special design speakers with neodymium magnets, so they're nice and light. So one of the other major things, the difference between this range and the last range, is these are very light. Class D power sections, switch mode power supplies. As you can demonstrate, yeah, it's very, very, very light.